This is Shakedown, and no need for some special intro or other talk about other racing. We have Allan McNish on Skype as he prepares for the 24 hours of Le Mans, and we prepare for our 25 hours of the 24 starting tomorrow. Now, we caught Allan between a couple of sessions from Le Mans live on a mobile phone, but it's still good stuff. Let's go right to it. We're joined by Allan McNish from Le Mans. I'm going to be really respectful of your time because I know you're between things like driver debrief, pit stop practice. If you don't mind, let's get right into it with a number of questions. Is that good?
Yeah, no problem. You know what I'm going to be doing next, though, Leo? I'm going to run the circuit. Tom, Loic, and I are going to be donning our training shoes and running gear. It's raining outside, and then we're going to do the 8.5.
Got it. So let me start. If my notes are right, you may be the only guy, certainly one of the few, to have driven and raced for Audi, Porsche, Toyota. I think I got that experience right. Therefore, am I expecting you to announce your move to Nissan next year at Le Mans, or are you going to stay with Audi?
Just to sort of cover all the bases, is that what you're saying? You never know. Crikey, it's good that Porsche are coming back. That's a fantastic news because it's quite incredible that the last time they were in the top flight was back in '98 when Longtail, Stefan Artelli and I won with the GT1. It seems like yesterday in so many ways, but it was such a long time ago, and a lot of the engineers there have been sort of biding their time and a little bit frustrated, I'm sure, through the years. So we're definitely welcoming them back on the grid. And, you know, if the rumours we hear about another manufacturer joining true, then that'll make it a fantastic foursome fighting for the big races in the World Endurance Championship.
So I know about the internal Volkswagen Group competition, and I know that we're all gracious, but how badly do you want to beat Toyota this year and Porsche next? Put it in Scottish terms if you want.
Oh, hard. We want to do that. I tell you, this year with Toyota, they came in 12 months ago. Their first race was Le Mans, fight at the front, and then after that we had a titanic battle through the World Endurance Championship races where, to be honest with you, they were better than we expected, and we had to work hard over the winter to try to regain the performance that we needed, which I think. But when we get back to Le Mans, yep. Go.
So Toyota was a little humble. You and I both have Toyota experience. They were humble and respectful about Audi. Do you believe that they're chasing you, or is this going to be a mega battle?
I don't think we know.
Okay.
I really don't think we know because the test day weather was so bad that we didn't see true performance from Toyota. We know that they've got we've got 58 litres of fuel on board, and they've got 76 litres of fuel, and so strategy-wise, that gives them a big trump card, and we won't know how that works out until the race has actually started and got underway. And so right now, I think it could be a bit of a toys in a hair. We're going to have to be faster to try to counteract the more fuel stops that we have to do due to the increased fuel capacity that they've got.
So to that point, you were, as you mentioned, fastest in test day. We're talking today, Tuesday. This will be shown to our viewers on Friday. For a 24-hour race, what do you want to achieve for the qualifying session?
Historically, qualifying on pole position was bragging rights only, and it made you feel good. You went to the parade on the Friday evening with a big trophy and a smile on your face. But it didn't actually mean anything for the 24 hours. In reality, people that focused on the qualifying and not the race setup usually got hurt when it come to race day. But now it's 1 point for the World Championship, and so you've got to keep a little bit of an eye on it. However, the reality is you get 50 points to win the race, and so it still is a minor factor. But there is no question about it. From a driver's point of view, when you pull down the visor, you've got a new set of tyres on and low fuel. Crikey, you want to make it count. And round here, there's no better place to make it count.
So having said everything we discussed about the competition, who is the real competition to win this race? Is it the other cars out there, or are there factors that are Le Mans that really is what you are battling?
Hey, I tell you, the weather forecast doesn't look good. And, we talk about the competition with Toyota. We talk about also the internal competition within our cars. But when I look outside at the weather and I see the torrential rain, I think there is an element that you're going to have to be on tippy toes pretty much all the way through the weekend. You're going to have to have your intensity is so heightened, and it's going to be one of the toughest. I think for the drivers, this one's going to be really, really hard because it's going to be no static. It's going to be no constant. Weather conditions are going to be changing all of the time by what we read into it right now.
Do each of the 3 cars in the Audi team have a different role, or is it gloves off, here we go?
Once the race starts, we always have gloves off. Everybody runs to their own race. However, always in the test sessions or qualifying here at Le Mans, each car has got a different test program because, we've got 3 cars. We might as well maximize all the information we get out of it and pull it all together. And so therefore we all have different things. Sometimes that's because of driver or engineer feeling that's, I prefer to test this or prefer to test that. Sometimes it comes from above and our technical bods that what happens. But once we get to the race itself, that's it. Every man for himself. I
love to get into the technical stuff, so here we go. Is there a difference that you feel already driving the Longtail?
The Longtail's a Le Mans version.
Yeah.
Basically is a revision of last year's. I would have said that not due to just being the Longtail, but because they've worked so hard on the aerodynamics that the car felt in pre-test fantastic. Probably the best I felt around here, especially through the high-speed Porsche section. It was unbelievable. Rails, literally, that was the only way I could describe it to the engineer when I came back in, was you tucked it into the 5th gear, went straight on the gas. It was just like it hooked into a couple of tram rails, and it just shot through the corners. Didn't move, the front didn't move, the rear didn't. It was just unbelievable. And, I hope we can keep that sort of balance going forward. But overall, I would have said it's the performance has improved the engine and also on the hybrid as well. It's not just about one part. They've done a very good job with this car.
Succinctly, braking in the brake zone with etron, how does that change the brake zone? Do you have to brake harder? Does it feel like it's more pull down? What happens?
You always stand on the pedal as hard as you can anyway. That's kind of the basic laws of a driver. You hit the brake pedal as hard as you can. When the system is recuperating, you do feel it dragging. You feel basically it's like an extra brake, if you like, that pulls on. And then when you go into the corner, then obviously you're releasing the brake pressure as you would normally do, and the recuperation stops. But it's important that you don't necessarily feel these things too much. Because if you feel them, then it's destabilizing the car a little bit. And so there's a lot of work gone in to understand how to most effectively do it without affecting the driver and his kickback and sensations. At the same time, though, if we switch the system off, or without last year with the Ultra, which didn't run with the hybrid, you basically could brake roughly the same points on the circuit without a problem, but you had to press the brake to get the same sort of efficiency. And so there was a slight difference. It's definitely the hybrid recuperating for you. It just means that us lazy drivers don't have to press the pedal so hard.
Okay, so as someone with F1 experience, we get to have this conversation. Obviously, in F1, we're talking tire degradation, and you really see these guys, the F1 guys, driving to a pace versus flat out. I have a feeling you're driving harder in an endurance race than they are in an F1 race. Please, Allan, put that all in perspective for me. What's going on?
Okay, I'll ask you a question. Have you ever seen nothing but flat out?
Not from you.
I don't think it's in our DNA. That's the thing. A racing driver is basically paid to drive flat out. That's what we love doing. We love pushing the boundaries all the way. And that's one of the things that I think is quite frustrating for a lot of drivers in Formula One at the moment, is that the pace is dictated by damaging the tyre performance. And personally, for me to hear Lewis Hamilton coming over the radio in Barcelona a few races ago saying that he couldn't drive any slower was really quite a difficult radio message to listen to. Yeah, for sure, there is no question about it. A current sports car driver is on the limit of the car, of the tyre and the grip and everything else, much, much more than a Formula One car right now. That's Whether that's better for the spectators, for spicing things up in terms of F1, I really don't know. But as a driver, I always like to drive flat out.
Yeah. And you're going to be the marshal at the Hungary GP race, is that true?
Yeah. Yes, I'm the FIA driver. So there's a panel of 4 stewards, of which there's a driver representative, effectively someone with experience that sits in there to try to give a guiding hand on certain things. Each steward has got, I would say, a different area of expertise. And the driver steward came in a few years ago, and I think everybody would agree that it's been a benefit to the stewarding systems. And now incorporated in other formulas, including here at Le Mans, where we've got Yannick Dalmas, who is advising the stewards.
Alan, you watch the clock and time. If you need to go, I totally respect that. But can I sneak
in a minute or two? Yep.
Okay, let me sneak in one last question. You know, my perception of you and guys like McRae was always all about the emotion, the passion of driving. But we talked before. There's a lot of thinking going on. Take me a little bit. What are your thoughts when you're in the car in those first laps at Le Mans, and then when you're chasing someone? Take me and the young drivers through the process of what really goes on in your head.
To be honest with you, it's what goes on before it, because you sit in the car, there's a big long build-up at Le Mans, so there's plenty of time for the adrenaline to be pumping. You see the grandstands absolutely packed on both sides of that narrow strip called the start and finish straight, and you know it's coming around, the clock's ticking down, and eventually when you go off on your parade lap, the warming up lap, you know, it's a sense of relief, because up until that moment you just want to get it done, you want to get out there, you want to do it, and then you can get out and do your job, the thing that you've been working for a year to do. And so in that side, it's important to start. It's funny because it dictates the race more than anything else. You know, first lap in a 24-hour race doesn't really matter, but it's a bit of jostling for position. It's a bit about stamping your marker down at the beginning, trying not to do anything too silly, trying to be in the fight but not necessarily risk anything. If you're leading the race, then it's about controlling the brake zone into the Dunlop, the first chicane, and also into the first and second chicane in Mulsanne, because tyre temperature and pressure is not completely up, but you're still braking from over 200 miles an hour, and that's a tricky part about it. When you're in and chasing, that's when you've got to dig deep. That's when you've got to, you know, just try to maximize everything and minimize losses. Not necessarily, you know, take a second out, but minimize losses. And that's where the key part of it comes.
And having spoken about thinking, confirm for me, to be a professional, it all becomes intuitive.
It has to be intuitive. When you start thinking about it, then your brain power is being used for something that you shouldn't be. And so, therefore, it's got to be intuitive from start to finish. You know, that doesn't always come straight away, but sometimes it has to give it a little bit of help and direction, and we're quite lucky here.
Well, I'm going to let you go back to work.
Plenty of experience, bank. Okay, you take care.
Yeah, thank you very, very much.
Cheers.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Best of luck. Good race, okay?